代理人の職を預かっている以上、私自身の意見は重要じゃない。剣がこの手にある限り、私はフォンテーヌの法律と規則を代表しているんだ。決闘は意志の戦いであり、剣は決闘者の心だ。心がひるんでいると、いくら剣を振るおうとも、まるで鞘に収まったままかのように、誰も切ることはできない。
時間は超えなき歌なのだ。
悪を見極め、影を狩り尽くす。
裁きの雷痛がった稲光、すなわち永遠なり。逃げ道はあり。
かかれ。蒼天。潔白を証明する時だ。捕まえた。
裁きの痛
がきっち射撃準備。
がなくてもいいのよ。はっ、見切りました。痛がっちゃ嫌よ。裁きのイカかかれ。
影を撃つ。悪を見極め影を狩り尽くす。
逃げ道はあります。
捕まえた。ふっとはっだ。
見切りました。痛がっちゃ嫌よ。
争点。
かかれ。
潔白を証明する時だ。
Ah, shit! I didn't want to navigate to it because I have because I wanted to keep Sigewinne's quest active. Shit! Although it's taking me like right to the exact location where her quest is too. Yeah, like there's Sigewinne right there for her quest, and there's where the.
星とし無事今日の依頼を星としこの同点も同点についてのご質問でしたら
シグウィンさんにこうも高い評価をいただけるとは光栄の限りです。今後の改良の参考に至らぬ点をご指摘いただきたい気持ちもあったのですが、
大半のスキンケア用品の良し悪しは長く使ってみないとわからない。この商品はすぐ効果が現れて肌でも心配しないで。これからも使い続けて
お世辞でも言おうと思っていましたが。
シグウィンコーン尊敬す。
おや、こちらはかの。
その通り。かの有名な旅人と隣にいるのは同じくらい有名なパイ
せっかく旅人さんにご質問をいただいたので私からお答えしましょう。バタフライビューティーは肌に優しいので、どの肌タイプの方にも安心してお使いいただけます。強いて言うなら、我々フォンテーヌ人により合っているといったところ。
Marginally more affected on Fontanian skin. That is incredibly suspicious, especially considering all that we know about the origin of Fontanians. So is it marginally more effective because it's made out of like dead oceanids or something? Or is he killing oceanids, grinding up oceanids to put into the cream? Like, I was actually thinking he was killing Meliswine for it. But maybe it could be oceanids if it's more effective on Fontanians, because Fontanians are essentially oceanids.
どうしてだ？
そちらはそんな煩わしいことを考える必要はありません。や
ったー！へそくりを使っ
そう思うのも無理ないかも。バタフライビューティーを使っていただける。
No, I mean, like, it's just 2 bottles for something that's already going to be, going to sell well because of what all the opinion because of Sigewinne's help, and it's only a benefit, right? So he gives it to us for free, right? And we're probably going to use it, and if anyone ever asked, we would mention it. So essentially, he gets free advertising. Because it's not like he doesn't even need, and you don't even need to ask us to advertise it because, like, you know, we'll probably just bring it up anyway. That's just how word of mouth advertising works. That's why it's good to, I mean, that's kind of why, like, a lot of games, I mean, it's twofold, obviously. But, like, there are the free-to-play games, right? Like, Genshin is a free-to-play game, as an example, right? One good reason why it's good to have free-to-play games is because there's no barrier to entry, right? If I like Genshin and I go around saying, oh my god, I was playing Genshin the other day, holy shit, the story's amazing, right? I'd be like, hey, and then people would be like, really? And then they see, oh, it's free? Sure, I'll give it a shot. And then they, get in. Now, another reason why they do it is because it's free to play, it's more justifiable for them to put in pay-to-win mechanics like gacha and, microtransactions, because it's free to play. Now, obviously, they still do that in non-free-to-play games. There are a lot of games where you actually have to purchase, and then there are still microtransactions. But the general consensus is, if it's a free-to-play game, it has to have microtransactions, because that's how you fund the game. So it's slightly more acceptable. As a concept, obviously, the way you implement microtransactions should make it more or less ethical. But the idea is that because it's free to play, any word-of-mouth advertising will then get people to try it and then get them to play. Right? So the same thing is kind of like that. Because, it's not specifically for this, but it just goes to show you the power of word-of-mouth advertising. Like Baldur's Gate 3 is a very good example of this. Helldivers 2, another great example. Both of those games became far more popular than they rightfully should have. And I'm not saying they're bad games by any stretch of the imagination, but they got way more popular than their genre and their game honestly deserved. It's like, they're good, but they're not that good, right? And I know you might be like, what? That's like insulting the game? It's like, no, they were good. But like, Baldur's Gate 3 is a turn-based tactical strategy game at its core, right? For its combat, that's what it is. It's turn-based tactical strategy. Those games aren't really that popular. And you might be like, well, no, everyone likes that shit. It's like, no. Look at Larian Studios' previous games. Divinity Original Sin, Divinity Original Sin 2. Neither of them were anywhere near as popular as Baldur's Gate 3. And they have almost identical combat systems. There are obviously differences, but like generally, it just gives you an idea for the general popularity of that type of genre. And so it just goes to show you that, Baldur's Gate 3 was far more popular than any other game they've ever made before, and just generally compared to tactical strategy games. Now, to be fair, Baldur's Gate 3 did a lot of other cool things. But as I was saying, sorry, I got distracted. But like Baldur's Gate 3 did a lot of other good things too. Like its intricate story, the multiple endings, the fact that it has multiplayer co-op, all of those things are reasons why it became more popular than its predecessors. Just the characters, the voice acting, the motion capture, all the production value essentially, the production value of all those aspects made it more popular than its predecessors, the Divinity Original Sin 2 and 1 and 2. But even then, its popularity shouldn't have grown to what it did, but because of word of mouth marketing, right? Because of the bear sex scene thing that not really shocked people, but made people laugh, and how memeable it was, and just how memeable there are so many moments in the game. And I generally find that if you look at a game that does really, really well, especially games that become more popular than you would expect them to. One thing they all seem to have in common is that they get memed to death. A memeable game is a game that has a much higher likelihood of gaining great popularity, right? Like Baldur's Gate 3, shitloads of memes around that, right? Helldivers 2, fuckloads of memes around that too. For democracy, all that bullshit. Memes to fucking death. Palworld got memed, but it was also the controversy between World and Nintendo, they're like, oh my god, it's a Pokemon ripoff. Nintendo, the most litigious gaming company in the world, is going to fuck them up. And that drummed up interest and got it trending and more popular. But then also the memes, too. But, like, yeah, all those games got ridiculously memed. And it has to be a good game, obviously, because, like, sure, there were other shit games, like Gollum, for instance, got memed to death because of shit. But Starfield also got memed to death because it wasn't really that good. So, you know, just because you're memeable doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be good, but it does mean that if you're a good game and you are memeable, you will probably get like 20 to 30% more popularity than you would. And you can be like, Helldivers 2 is like, was a really good game. It's like, yeah, it was good, but if you look at the actual numbers of Helldivers 1, Helldivers 1 wasn't nearly as popular. Like, when Helldivers 2 came out and it got memed to death and it got ridiculously popular, even the developers were like, holy fuck. We were not expecting this whatsoever. Like, our servers aren't ready for this shit. Like, Helldivers 1 was getting, like, only a few thousand people a day or something. So that's kind of like, they were thinking, oh, maybe we'll get up to 10,000 or something like that. But, like, early on, it was, like, it started out relatively small, like at 100,000, but then it bloomed up to, like, 400,000. So they just weren't ready for that type of shit. And that's why, like, all the discourse nowadays of like, oh my god, Helldivers 2 has fallen off. Look how unpopular it is now. And then, of course, people are trying to suck their own dicks and be like, yeah, it's because Sony did this thing, and that's why. It's like, no, it's not. Because if you actually look at the numbers, if you look at the time when the whole Sony controversy about the PlayStation account appeared, numbers didn't drop. The entire week that this quote-unquote boycott happened, the number of active players on Steam remained exactly the same. Did not drop at all. Like, it was already dropping. But that's just how it is. Like, that's just how most games are. Like, you get the game, you play the game, lots of people play it on release, and then, you finish the game, and then you stop. Now, it's a live service game, so it obviously needs to keep a relatively regular population to maintain itself. It's not like other games, like Elden Ring, for instance. Like, you play Elden Ring, you beat the Elden Ring, and then you can be done, right? Now, so, yeah, obviously some people go back and do New Game Plus and stuff, but it's like, it's a single player game where you're just going to do the game, you're going to beat the game, and then you're going to stop playing the game. Outside of replayability, right? And there will be some who replay any game, no matter what. Like, if you go look at Steam, the Steam numbers for like Final Fantasy VII, the original Final Fantasy VII Remake, if you look at them, they're getting like 500 to 1,000 players, respectively, every day. It's like Final Fantasy VII Remake goes between 500 and 1,000 players as the day progresses, like on average. So it'll peak at 1,000 every single day, and like Final Fantasy VII, the original, peaks at like 500 every single day, right? And this is like, and these are obviously games that have been out for years, so people still play and replay these games, and of course, like some new players as well. So, yeah. So it's not. So, yeah, like, so Helldivers 2 was already dropping down. Helldivers 2 was already dropping down. Then the Sony thing happened, and then you got a bunch of people who dislike Sony, and who are just like lying. Basically, not really lying, but they're stupid, essentially. They don't have the data, so they're just making shit up. They don't have any actual proof that this is the cause of Helldivers' quote-unquote decline, but they're like, oh, no, this happened. It's like, yeah, but the numbers don't reflect that. Because Helldivers 2 was already dropping in player count long before. Like, for the past 2 months, it had been steadily going down in average player count for the day, right? And then this event happened, and during the entire week the boycott happened, did not drop in player count. And then, once the boycott was over, the player count, just continued down at the exact same rate as it was before. So it's like, yeah, the numbers suggest that there was no difference. And now it's kind of steadied out at hovering around like 10 to 20,000 people a day, right? Which is like, it's like 10 times the numbers Helldivers 1 was getting. So it's like, it's clearly, and I honestly think that this 10 to 20,000 is kind of what they were expecting when they first released the game. I think the developers of the game were expecting it to be around 10 to 20,000, and that's kind of what they probably designed the game around. Or not really designed the game around, but like had the infrastructure for initially, I think. That's my guess. They might have even expected less, because like Helldivers 1 was not really that popular. So I think what its current player base is probably like what we would expect. And then of course, like they haven't really had any like super new content. Like they've been introducing like battle passes and like new cosmetics and shit, and doing some like patch content, but I don't think they've actually added anything like new. It's not like, oh, here's a new planet, here's a new raid, here's a brand new PvE, PvP mode or something like that. You know, they haven't added anything like that. So I would expect, yeah, like you're just gonna have player counts like this until you introduce new shit, until an expansion comes out, or until you, I don't know, have a new season or some sort of seasonal mechanic or something to like reinvigorate the player base. So having the count drop is like normal. But anyway, as I was saying, and that's why I'm like, yeah, so it got memed to death, and that's why it became ridiculously popular, and now it's kind of back to the levels it would have been if it just wasn't so memeable. Because it was so memeable, it became ridiculously popular, and that's just how word-of-mouth advertising works. So the fact that he's giving us this thing is very, very smart. Because, one, we've already expressed interest in it. He's relatively confident about the product. This opening speech thing was a great start. So even if he doesn't get us to help, he'll still be good. So he can afford to lose a bottle or two. But the thing is, of course, if we get hooked, if he's produced the best product, we'll have to come back to him, the only supplier of it, if we want more. Plus, if we ever recommend it to a friend, now he's gotten sale, and especially because for who we are the traveler. We are traveling through all countries. We are traveling around all countries. If people say, wow, your skin looks so good, what do you do anything for it? We say, hey, we use this product. Boom, now he has out-of-country sales that he didn't even have to, like, advertise for at all. Like, he didn't have to do shit for it. You know, he just had to give away 2 free bottles, and now we're going around cross-country advertising his product, potentially. So it's just win-win for him. Like, he loses a pittance to gain possibly a lot. Because, again, it's word of mouth. We give it to one person, they use it, everyone around them are like, holy shit, this is amazing. And now he has huge demand in other countries. You know, like we do it in Sumeru, and now everyone in Sumeru is like, holy shit, this is amazing. We want this. We go to Inazuma. Raiden Shogun uses it. Now everyone wants to use it like her. So, like, huge benefits. Yeah, so, okay, so my guess is he's either using... So my first guess is dead Melisine. I think he's using Melisine. Why? Because Melisine exists all over the place. So it would be super easy to get one and kill it. The thing is, but the fact that he said it's more useful, it's more effective on Fontanians, makes me think that maybe it's using Oceanids. Maybe it's using dead Oceanids. But then again, it's like, I don't know what happens to a dead Oceanid, right? Like, do they just become water? So, like, it's hard to say. Like, is he capturing an Oceanid, killing it, and then using the water that it becomes as part of this? Is he using some of the primordial sea, perhaps? You know, is he using a very, very, very light concentration of primordial seawater? And that's why it's kind of effective, because, like, it's like reinvigorating the Oceanid response deep inside. Because obviously if you use too much primordial seawater, you turn into water. So if he's using a ridiculously light concentration of it, it could just be that it's like it's stirring the Oceanid instincts or whatever, and like using some of that. So I think dead Melisine and dead Oceanid are probably less likely, simply because of how morbid it is. It seems unlikely that he would do that. Primordial seawater seems the most likely thing, especially because as part of the entire Fontanian arc, we've just had to deal with the primordial sea so frequently. And they even had a drug that uses primordial seawater. So my guess... So, yeah, my first guess of Melisine, I think it's far more... I think the most likely thing is primordial seawater, then dead Melisine, then dead Oceanid. That would be my guess in order of likelihood, is the ingredient for it. I still think it's safe, probably, maybe. Maybe not, actually. Maybe if you use too much, you can still get poisoned and turn to liquid. But, like, it depends on the quantity. And it's one of those things where it's like, if you're using a poison, for instance, and you're like, oh, but you don't know it's a poison, right? You're using a chemical, which actually turns out to be poisonous, but you don't know because no one's ever been poisoned by it. because no one's ever like ingested or used quantities for a prolonged period of time, so no one's aware of it. Like there's been tons of foods like that where we create a food and we're like, okay, cool, this food's good. Like wasn't like the old fake sugar in sodas like super bad for you, like caused cancer? And then we realized, oh shit, it causes cancer. Did we know that? No, we thought, oh, this is a fake sugar, makes things taste sweet. People kept ingesting it. Oh, and over like 10 years, they all of a sudden more people develop cancer. So they're like, ah, shit. So you can't predict these things sometimes. We can kind of predict the immediate effect. Like if you're going for a taste, we can predict that immediate taste effect. For this, it's like, okay, can we make your skin more moist or whatever you want for skin? Yes, does it do that immediately? Sure, but like, who has the time to test it for years to make sure everything's okay? And that's why we kind of test on small animals, because their life cycle is faster. So if we use it, so if it's something that will kill you by the time you die, if you use like a moisturizer on a rat and it dies before its lifespan, you could then like check it and be like, oh, does it have cancer? Does it have like this or that? But even still, like Fontanians make it weirder because they're not fully human. Their origins aren't fully human. So it's hard to say. If you could just use simple mice, would you need mice that were once oceanids as well to do a proper test? Wait, what? Where are we going for these ingredients? I thought we were like going to a shop or something. Oh, is it going to be those water things? We need to kill the water things for... Yeah, I guess it's even marked. Oh, that's about me. Whoops, I'm on the wrong floor.
この指。
人差し指だ。俺の。
じゃあ公爵、久しぶりだな。
ああ、あんたらか。確かにしばらく会った。
気にすんなって。
実はこいつがもう一人の
もう一人の自分。
最初報告を受けた時、俺もそう思ったが、ここに入ったらそのガンとした口ぶりから、とりあえず
これでよし。水を。検査は終わったけど、病理学的な観点。
そうか。
あくまで推測だけどね。精神的な症状は直接見ても判断。
もしこのことを広められたら、あいにく今日はマレショーセファントムからある事件の処理を手伝ってほしいと言われていてな。手が空いてない。この患者のことは看護師長に頼むしかなさそうだ。
任せてちょうだい。
こっちの二人は看護師長に会うためにわざわざメロピデ要塞まで来てくれた。
旅人にパイも。よーし、シグウィン。
何か休養ができたら
じゃあな。もう少し待っててくれるか。もう分かったぞ。
看護師長連れてきたぞ。さらに容体が悪化してるようだ。
慌てないで。まず彼をこちらに座らせて。シグウィンって。
Oh, are these sick people who maybe were tested on? Maybe they tested the skin cream? Or maybe the skin cream can change your appearance in higher dosages. Because like, maybe it is, so, and then it's probably made it primordial to see, maybe.
シグウィンの普段の仕事ぶりを。今度は痛いかもしれないから。あの顔。
さあな、ここに来て間もなくして原因もわからずに顔が腐っちまったんだ。重罪人だから外に出て。まったく困ったもんだよ。後でマレショー
先輩。
Yeah, so that's what I think happened, right? I think that's what the cream was. I think it's probably made out of. So okay, it makes me far more. It makes the it being the primordial seawater as a main ingredient, or as one of the ingredients, far more likely. And it seems like these people probably used it in a higher concentration before you got the dosage right. And because essentially when you're using it in huge amounts, you turn into water. I think it was a high enough dosage where it actually melted his features. Whereas in a super small dose, all it does is kind of like just like remove a layer or two of skin or something, or just like bring out more of your oceanid abilities to make you shine and luster. That's my guess.
ああ、一大事件さ。一気に数十人が逮捕された。で、あいつがその中でも一番凶悪なやつってわけだ。
もう十分見ただろ。
まだよ。不乱の状態。大丈夫。メルジーヌの美的感覚は人間とだいぶ違うの。
何言ってんだ。子供扱いしてんのか。さっさと。
その態度はなんだ。このメロピ。
うちは平気よ。これから薬を塗ってあげるね。シグウィンがこんなに優しくしてやってるのに。
もう言って。
声も出さずによく我慢できた。
看護師長、迷惑をかけちまって申し訳ない。
旅人、パイモンちゃん。材料はもう。遠慮しないで。うちが約束したんだ。二人はどこかで一休みしてて。もしそんなに疲れてないなら。そう俺代わり。そっか。善良な人間は安心して。スケジュールを確認して、君たち。でも、ちょっと疲れるかもしれないの。だから、シグウィン、こっちは準備できたぞ。最初のお手伝いは何だ？ちょうど旅人にぴったりの仕事があってね。まず、
But she's gonna apply the thing on us. Oh, is this gonna have the same effects it has on Fontania's? Is it gonna melt our face or allow us? I don't mind.
病人のふりをする様子が サボりたくて頭をひねる囚人たちよりも面白くって。そう言われると。あ、もうすぐ患者さんが来る時間ね。とりあえずうちの言う通りにしてちょうだい。おお。
来てやったぞ。
お母さんは当直で手が離せないんだから。病気。
はいはい。下の階で海とつながったところを泳いだり無茶したりしたせいで風邪をひいてメロピデ要塞に来たらしばらく自由に遊べると。
まずは体温を測るから座ってちょうだい。
なあお姉ちゃん、この薬苦いから飲み。母ちゃんをごまかせるようにさ、処方箋だけ渡してくんない？
ええ、もちろん構わないのよ。君は
言うか？
自分の免疫力で熱が下がるまで待つにはこのお姉さんみたいに試練に耐えなければいけないの。
Is Paimon finally gonna get it? Jeez, fuck. Yeah, it's just like, oh, come on. I just hate how stupid Paimon is. Like, I get it, like, there's a reason, right? She has to be stupid so that everyone can explain things to her, i.e. her / the user, right? It's because we don't know something, Paimon has to act stupid so that so that someone can ask. Especially because, like, the Traveler herself doesn't really say things. Like, there are some quests where she does actually say stuff, say a few lines. But for the most part, she is pretty silent. Or we only talk through the dialogue options we're given, right? So Paimon's there to act as the moron, so that she can ask, what is this? What is that? What is this? And essentially drive the story forward by being the exposition machine. The one who can elicit the responses to explain to the player what the fuck's going on, so that we can continue the story. It also still is annoying that she is this stupid, but whatever. Like, we were just told that the fact that she took that long to realize, oh, she's faking, I got it, now I gotta think of something. She like took 5 seconds to do this. You were told this is what you're gonna do. The second we acted like that, you should have been like, oh, got it right away.
そうなったらまあお医者さん。
俺薬を飲みたいんだけど。も
ちろん。
Yeah, that's why I like medicine in pill form. Because I can, like, swallow pills. I don't like NyQuil, for instance, tastes like shit. Pepto-Bismol, like the liquid shit, tasted horrible. It's like, I'd rather just have their effects in a pill. Because usually the actual medicine itself, if it's in a liquid form, tastes terrible. Now, I do understand that, like, China has their whole, like, traditional medicine field where it's like a mixture of herbs and shit. Herbs and plants and all that stuff that exhibit medicinal effects, which they, like, stew and you have to drink. So I do get that, right? They're kind of taking a more natural. They create medicine more naturally, so it usually ends up having to be, like, boiled and drank, which sucks because it's always going to be a liquid and it's obviously going to taste like shit because they're not designing it for flavor. They're designing it for medicinal effectiveness, which sucks for the people taking it. Whereas, like, Western medicine is far more like, no, we've created this chemical, we've created this thing, we've compressed it into a pill. You just gotta swallow the pill. There you go, right? They have each of their own benefits, but I do like Western medicine simply because they're the ones who make pills, and you can easily swallow a pill and get its effectiveness rather than have to, like, suffer through the medicine.
ここに来た当初はウキウキして、つまり子供に薬を飲ませるためにオイラたちに病気のふりをさせたってこと。実はね、この方法は先生に教わったの。先生、気にしないで。それに先生は診療所を持ってなくて街を歩き先生はいつもこう言ってた。ははんなんていうか厳しい。先生の言葉を借りると、そんな風に自分を評価する医者ならちょうど先生の。
Ah, darn, that's the one I recognize.
本当でしょ。先生に見てもらったこと。
I was actually hoping. Yeah, I was thinking that she was the witch. I was thinking that she was the witch that made her look more human. Because, like, the fact is that when her friend was sick, she instantly was able to find a witch that was able to turn her human, like, and get back to her friend and treat her. Like, the amount of time it would have taken to find a witch is fucking weird. Like, how do you know where to find one? So if her teacher was one, then it would make more sense. She goes back to her teacher, hey, teacher, my friend's sick, I need help. And she's like, well, I can't leave this place, so here's a potion to make yourself human, right? That's what I was kind of thinking.
シグウィン、そのく確かにそうね。まあ年老いた魔女みたいな医者の前じゃ。でもうちにはできない。子供でもそれってもう次の患者さんが来る時間。今日は旅人とパイもヒヒ。さて、もう遅いし、そろそろ休むとするか？実は最後にもう一つだけ残ってるの。秘密？オイラたちが知ってもいいことか？ええ。君たちはもうメロピデ要塞に住んでないから問題ないのよ。栄養食って、うちが作った栄養食を患者さんはどうしても食べてくれなくって。シェフが手を加えてたとして。あ、気になるの？パイモンちゃん。なら教えてあげるね。まあ材料は机の上に用意してあるから、まず特別なスライムの液体をよくかき。ほんとだ。次に色変わりの結晶を砕いて、限界アベラントから手に入るやつ。最後にタンパク質が豊富な肉を入れる必要があるんだけど、カエルはぴったり。よし、これで下処理は完了よ。昨日生産エリアで2日連続で働いている人がいたの。やっぱりシグウィンは
ああ、看護師長か。今日は食。
一人前よ。
了解。
まるで秘密のやりとりみたい。手を煩わせちゃってごめんね。
そう気にするな。看護師長はメロピデ要塞のみんなのために尽くしてくれてんだ。睡眠時間を削ってでも力になる。
ダメよ。これ以上睡眠時間を短くしたら体に響くから。
ああ、もちろん。
今日のお仕事はこれで全部完了よ。ここの監視とかスタッフ。
看護師長、今よろしいでしょうか？
焦らないで。
観察室を見張っていたオディロンさんから看護。
Okay, I know what happened. Obviously, he did meet a doppelganger. Oh, it's probably the super criminal, the one with the melted face. I bet the melted face man is using the cream to melt his face and morph it into the guy who saw his doppelganger. So, essentially, he wasn't able to get it fixed back before the test, so he's still kind of melted, and that's why they had to bring him to there, because he looks so weird. But I think that's what he's doing. I think the super criminal, the super asshole criminal, is using a less diluted version of the skin cream to essentially morph his face into looking like that guy, and then he's going to leave. And that's who it is. That's the guy who's asking for leave right now. He's the guy, he's the super criminal.
観察室から出るにはまずうちが彼の体を検査して。なら医療アシスタントも仕事しないとな。よし、オイラたちも一緒に行こう。
But yeah, so that's my so that's what I think is going to happen. I think that's what the whole thing is. I think the researcher, I don't know if the researcher did it intentionally, but I'm pretty sure that the criminal at the very least is doing it intentionally. Knows its effects. Maybe even was the one who hired the researcher. And the researcher's just like, okay, well, we have the face melting effects, but if we dilute it more, it won't melt your face, and instead just act as a normal skin cream. So that is my guess of where the story's going to go. Shit, I wasn't even paying attention to what his clothes were. Were those two people's clothes the same? But I bet she'll be able to tell. I bet because I think she doesn't see them. She doesn't see their faces. She sees their like soul, or maybe their essence or something. So she's gonna see that it's the super criminal.
それでも必要な検査はやらないといけないの。
午前中はひどく緊張してた。
思い出せなくても大丈夫よ。まずは認知能力の検査ね。
ああ、小指だ。
Yeah, see, he didn't remember because he's the super criminal.
やっぱり過労による確かに過度な労働で精神疾
いや、看護師長の責任じゃない。俺がうまく看護師長心配してくれてありがとう。今は一刻も早く。
確かに慣れない環境では2日間の休暇を申請してゆっくり休んで。
あ、面倒を。
オディロンさん、彼を。
ああ、わかった。今日はちょうど管理。
これが最後の仕事だよな。
She noticed, right? Like she had to have noticed, right?
そういえば別に急いでない。じゃあ明日心配するな。シグウィンもちゃんと。
Is she not going to mention, or does she honestly not notice? Because like I thought the whole point was that she doesn't see things the way. Yeah, switcheroo. Obviously, the guy that was the super criminal. So she said she didn't see things like normal humans. I'd assume she instantly recognized it. That's why I assumed she said, "We're going to go through the tests in the exact same order as we did this morning," and because I thought that was a test. I thought she already suspected, and so she was using that to prove. But the fact that she like released him and let him go back to his old ward is kind of weird. I actually thought he was asking to be released, like go back into the wild, like be released from prison. But I guess he meant released back into his ward. So yeah, I don't know if Sigewinne is faking it, essentially. I don't know if she noticed and she's just pretending not to have noticed, so she doesn't like alert us. And then she's gonna go and like confront the guy, or she's gonna lay a trap or be waiting for him, essentially to reveal himself. But yeah, so that's my guess of the story so far. I'm gonna go ahead and call it a day for now, but to sum up, I think in this quest, the guy who made the lotion, the reason why it works so well, especially on Fontanians, is because it has a very small concentration of primordial seawater, which essentially is liquefying Fontanian skin, giving it a nice sheen. I think that's what it is. I think that the prisoner has a more concentrated version of it, and he's able to make his face even more melty, and he's using his melty face to shape it to look like that other guy. Now, I don't know who the other guy is. I know that the guy who's doing it is a super criminal, so he's probably trying to do it to escape, or trying to do it for some sort of reason, but we don't know who the doppelganger guy is, so we don't really know why he'd want to impersonate him. Obviously, since it is prison, you think, okay, he's doing it to escape. Like, does anyone escape from here? Like, is that guy getting close to? Like, maybe that guy's sentence is almost done, so he's like, oh, he's going to be released in 10 days. So that's why he's trying to do the switch. So he's going to switch and then leave and replace him. So, and they keep mentioning, yeah, Melisons don't see humans as like through eyes like us. So I was assuming she'd be able to like see his essence or something, like see his soul, like the shape of his soul or his aura or something, and she would notice, oh, his aura is actually the other guy. Maybe she did, and maybe the idea is that because she doesn't want to reveal it too early, right? the idea might be that we as the traveler are not supposed to suspect this, so that's why she didn't mention anything. So we're going to come across it. She's going to say, hey, come on, like, follow me. I'm going to follow this guy. And then maybe we're going to do some sort of investigation to prove it. And then it's going to be like Paimon saying, what? I never even possibly expected that, even though it's incredibly predictable. But we'll see. But I'm going to go ahead and call it, for now at least. This has been about an hour. I thought I might be able to finish it, but then I got into my little rants. It took a little while, and it's just really hot doing my walk in the summer. I'm all sweaty and gross. I want to go shower. You know, and an hour is a good long walk anyway. Try to work out my big lunch I had. God, it's hitting my stomach like a rock still. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and log out for now. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.